Welcome to HUDCO Radio. I'm Jim Kennelly. County Executive Craig Guy recently announced this year's funding recommendations for Hudson's Open Space Trust. Sam Schroeder, Chief of Land Acquisition and Design for the Hudson County Division of Planning, joins us now to talk about the trust, its impact, and what projects are being recommended for funding in 2026. Sam, welcome.
Thanks, Jim.
I'd like to begin by asking you to give us a little background. What is the Hudson County Open Space and Historic Preservation Trust, and what kind of impact has it made on Hudson County?
So, for 2 decades, the Hudson County Open Space Program has been delivering on its purpose to improve both the quality and quantity of parks throughout the county, as well as our historic sites. The program's awarded a total of 124 million for green space improvements, created or upgraded over 50 playgrounds, and built 21 new parks. On the historic preservation end, it's designated 19. It's awarded 19 sites funding. The program's really become integral to the capital planning of park improvements in all 12 of our municipalities. And as funding becomes tighter on a federal and local level, our parks remain a priority, especially in our urban environment. Of course, I'd like to thank our county executive, Craig Guy, for his leadership on this, as well as Director Sharonda Walker and Deputy Director Francesca Giratana, who take deep interest in the program and appreciate the way that the program directly improves the quality of life for our residents.
So that's great. Now this program, 21 years of success. That's really kind of remarkable. And this year, 2026, is really no different. Let's talk a little bit about 2026 and those applications that have been recommended to the county executive by the Open Space Trust Committee. Why don't you give us a rundown of where, what, and how much is being funded across the county by the trust? And maybe we could start with, I don't know, Jersey City, Bayonne, Hoboken.
Definitely. So in total, this year's recommendation is 12.4 million, which is the largest amount to date. In Jersey City, we have funds recommended for 4 playgrounds: La Pointe Park, Terrace Avenue Park, Martiniac Enright, and Leonard Gordon Park. And in Bayonne, we're looking at a new playground on 24th Street next to the Midtown Community School. Over in Hoboken, we have 2 new playgrounds recommended as well: Stevens Park and Church Square Park. So, a lot of interest this year in new playground equipment. And that's one of the things that our Open Space Advisory Board has been really keen on, especially making sure that these playgrounds are well shaded and increasing that tree canopy wherever we can. Also in Jersey City and Lincoln Park, there's a couple grants that are being recommended: a new multi-purpose turf field in the middle of the track, and a historic preservation grant for the fountain in Lincoln Park.
Terrific. So let's talk a little bit about West and North Hudson. I know if we want to include Secaucus in that, maybe the most interesting news is about what's going to be going on there with land acquisition. Could you start maybe there?
Yeah, what's really exciting about the Hudson County Open Space Program is the ability to create new open space through land acquisitions. And this year, the city of Secaucus is being recommended funds to acquire a property that would add over an acre of new parkland. And the site will better connect some of the previously acquired open space over there along the Secaucus and Hackensack River Greenways and Farm Road Park.
Well, don't run away on that one. I want to ask you a little bit about greenways before we finish. But let's talk about North Hudson and West Hudson. They obviously are smaller often in size than say Jersey City, but they have great needs still for green space. What are some of the projects that this year's trust will be funding in West and North Hudson?
Yeah, so Harrison is actually leveraging our funds with their recent acquisition near a school on William Street. So they have acquired a property, and then we have recommended funds to develop that property into park. So that'll bring a new park online eventually. And East Newark and Kearney, we're awarding some additional funds to projects that they have ongoing there as well. There is a Veterans Park next to the East Newark Borough Hall, and Kearney's been working on their crew house and improving that.
I understand in the crew house project, I think, if I'm not mistaken, there's a little bit of an equity, like a positive step in terms of equity, in that I think there's finally going to be a girls or women's bathroom in the crew house as a result of getting a little bit of capital investment there. Is that true?
That's right. So it was originally built just for men's crew, and thanks to the the improvements, it'll have both male and female locker rooms.
So this is not the end of the bureaucratic process, so to speak, or the funding process. I know that there is another step now that the county executive has gotten these recommendations, has presented them. What happens next in terms of where open space funding moves, or the recommendations move to be to lead to being, I guess, finally us having funded recommendations?
Well, you're right, Jim. There are a few more steps. The county commissioners will be hosting a public hearing on these recommendations July 16th at their regular county commissioner meeting. And then the county commissioners will have an opportunity to vote on these recommendations in early September. Once that once that vote has taken place, then the grantees can officially begin to work on these projects.
And at that meeting, individuals, members of the public who have concerns or want to know more, they can come and they can ask questions and do things like that. Is that correct?
Yes, on July 16th.
Excellent, terrific. Now, while I've got you here, I wanted to talk to you a little bit about something about the role of greenways in Hudson County's open space development strategy. You mentioned greenways and connecting there in Secaucus. I wonder if you could talk about how greenways that talk a little bit about the greenways that do run through Hudson County. So give us a sense of what those are, and then what is the hope for their future? What's the purpose behind these things, and what is the hope for their future?
Yeah. So as we talk about open space, it's important to recognize that these parks don't exist in a vacuum, right? They're in a context of neighborhoods. And at a lot of times there's ways that we can connect some of our open spaces. And what greenways really do is make a connection so that way one could go for a longer walk or go for a bike ride and pass through many different open spaces and appreciate some of the more natural areas throughout the county. And a lot of these occur along our waterfronts. We have three waterfronts: that the Hudson River, the Hackensack River, the Passaic River, and all three of them have greenways adjacent to them.
Now, is there any relationship with the state, I wonder, in terms of this kind of planning? Do we work in a vacuum, or is it more of something that requires at least some regional thinking? Can you talk about that?
Absolutely, there's regional thinking, and the state is working on a greenway connecting Jersey City to Montclair, and that overlaps a little bit with our Hackensack River Greenway, and also borders Laurel Hill Park, one of our county parks. So there's lots of opportunity to collaborate with the state.
Well, that sounds exciting. Well, Sam, thank you for joining us.
Thanks, Jim.
A web link for the interactive 2026 Open Space Trust Recommendations Report, which includes maps and renderings, can be found in this episode's show notes. To keep up to date on county government news and alerts, be sure to follow us on Twitter X at HUDCO Tweet and on Facebook at HUDCO FB. To see photos and videos of county government events, follow us on Instagram at HUDCO Insta or subscribe to our YouTube channel, HUDCO TV. You can find HUDCO Radio and hopefully subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. Thanks as always to Hudson County Executive Craig Guy and the Board of County Commissioners, who sponsor, support, and direct all the programs and services discussed on this podcast. Take care.